Howdy howdy, this is Gretty Grinding back again with a Arena Cutoff video for Marvel Contest of Champions. Today I cover round 1 predictions for the new Sentry and Punisher 2099 arenas. So the first thing I like to do is classify kind of how do these arenas stack up to previous arenas, as that kind of sets the basis for which you'll do the trend analysis, as well as take as your input from the poll data that you provided earlier. But anyway, when it comes to 4-star and 3-star feature arenas, they're either a new champ or old champ. That's how those past results have kind of clustered. And with Sentry, of course, he is a new champ. And it gets more complicated when we look at the 4-star basic arena. And there's basically a cluster of low interest results, cutoffs, mid interest, medium interest cutoffs, and then high interest cutoffs. And in case of Punisher, I think he's going to fall into that medium interest, that mid interest cutoff group. So, with now with these arenas classified, let me take a look at some of these recent past similar results. So we're going to go first with the 4-star feature. You can see with Blade the 19.3 million, which at that time set an all-time high. But then of course Hela came in and made it a little bit higher. But anyway, 19.3. I did throw out the Hela and Thor Ragnarok arenas just because Valor was involved. So it just didn't want to really skew the past results that I consider. And then when looking at Taskmaster though and MODOK most recently, you can see that those results did fall back down. We got 17 million for Taskmaster and 16.4 million for MODOK. Now, when we look at the medium interest 4-star basic arena, you can see that there's a little range there between King Groot at the lower side at 2.5 million, all the way up to Yondu's 4.1 million, and then you have Angela kind of sitting there in that 3 million, low 3 million range. Then when we look at some recent new 3-star feature champ arenas, you can see that Blade was at 1.52. Taskmaster at 1.5, and then we had MODOK most recently with 1.48. So we're kind of hanging around that 1.5 million cutoff area. So this is kind of these are past results for similar type arenas. So what did you, the community, think? For those who took the time to vote, I say thank you very much for sure. But I did set out a couple polls related to the 4-star feature and the 4-star basic. The first we'll take a look at is what do you think the first round arena cutoff will be for the 4-star Sentry arena? And as you can see here, 208 folks voted. Thank you again very much for that. Most of the a decent majority, 57%, thought he'd be in that 19 million plus, so kind of going into that Blade and Hela range. But then you have a number of folks going 18 to 19 million, so 28%, and then 15% to 17 to 18 million. When looking at the comments that folks posted, a lot of folks were saying, hey, this is a science champ based off of some early, reviews, etc. It looks like that he could be kind of god tier, maybe demigod tier minimally kind of thing. But I think Sean Lee here brings up a good point. He is a new science champ. Everybody recognizes that. We did have MODOK, by the way, who was a new science champ. We did see that 16.4 million. Just adding to Sean Lee's comment here, but you can see, but he seems a bit too complicated in his state changes are RNG based, too unpredictable to be useful offensively. RNG based. So anytime you got that randomness tied to the state changes, and you have to rely on that in playing, that doesn't always necessarily translate well over into kind of, especially from a god tier champ, but even demigod. When I think of something somewhat similar, I think about like even the Green Goblin's power control was all kind of RNG based, right? I mean, there was a chance it can happen, and when that happens, you can't always guarantee it. And we all know how the Green Goblin fiasco, or I won't call it fiasco, but situation win. And I don't think we got that here with Sentry, but I'm not so sure he's going to push Blade and Hela for some of those all-time highs. Then when we take a look at the 4-star basic champ for Punisher 2099, you can see that, again, it was 200 votes, so thank you very much, community, for your input. But the highest two areas were first 2.5 to 3 million, almost 50%, and then the next at 3 million to 3.5 million. And then when we look at some of the comments, God of Thunder, do this one crafty grindy. Well, thank you for your input, God of Thunder, but I need a little bit more detail than that, and I think Ghost 2690 provided more thought here with not sure he will be this high. He isn't a monster really at anything, but has good utility. That was a common thread from a number of folks who let more detailed feedback in the poll. Everybody thought, he's not great, but has some good utility. And I like Ghost's point here, especially taking enemy out of Special 3 and Power Lock when awakened. And I can say, already having an Awakened Punisher Punisher 2099. That's a pretty cool utility. That's come in handy a couple times already. So Ghost 2690 saying low 3 million to mid 3 million to be extra safe. So thanks again, everybody. Thanks again, community, for your input. It's a very helpful instrument tool that I use in coming up with my predictions. Speaking of my predictions, when it comes to the round one predictions, and this is for the veterans bracket, so meaning your account's been open for 61 days or longer. You can see for the 4-star feature, I think Sentry's going to come into 18.5. It's easy to say 19 million plus kind of thing. New science champ, looks like he could possibly be demigod, god tier kind of thing. But I think some of the early, results coming back, he looks good. He's going to be a decent champ for sure, but I'm not sure he's going to go into that demigod or god given that RNG based capabilities that he has. Now, in terms of, so I've set the top 800 to get Sentry at 18.5 million. I think that'll be that first round cutoff. And then when it's for the top 10%, it'll be 4.6 million. And I think for the 11% shard tier, it'll be right around 2.5, 2.6 million. Now, jumping over to the Punisher 2099 4-star basic arena, I think his cutoff will be right around 3.2, maybe 3.3, but I went ahead and set the cutoff at 3.2 million, with 11 to 25% coming in at 1.65 million. And lastly, jumping over to the 3-star feature Sentry Arena, you can see that I've set the top 10% to get Sentry at 1.52. That's pretty consistent with all the results we've seen here of late, with 11 to 25% coming in at 620,000. Now, keep in mind, these are where I actually think the cutoffs will be. In terms of any recommendation on a grind target, where I think you should actually grind, if you really want to get Sentry, you should go to 19.2 million. If you really want to get Punisher 29, try to go to 3.5, maybe even 3.6 million. And lastly, if you really want the 3-star Sentry, go to 1.55 million. Then you can also see the shard tier grind targets here as well. And these grind targets, similar to the round one predictions I just shared, are for the veterans bracket. In terms of some just general guidance for the beginner and intermediate brackets, here's my thoughts on those. And this, again, is not based on a ton of data, just based off of some my own personal experiences back in August and most recently now with my free-to-play account, but then also input from the handful of folks in the community. Thank you very much for those folks who take that time, who come back and give me their results in the intermediate and beginners bracket. So again, these are just general ranges. 3-star feature, 245,000 for beginner. 4-star basic, around 1 million. 4-star feature, about the same, around 1 million. I can say that going to the intermediate bracket, for the last memory crystal arena, I ranked like 319, scored 780,000, something like that, and ended up in the 30% tier kind of thing. So it doesn't seem like there was a lot of folks who qualified, since I almost made the cut of 200 and didn't even get in the next tier kind of thing. But anyway, so 1.4 million, 1.5 million for the 4-star feature and intermediate bracket seems good. 4-star basic, 1.2 million, and the 3-star feature, 650,000. Again, these are just general guidance ranges, less data behind these to actually say they're good prediction kind of stuff. So use these, user beware kind of thing. And even in the case when it comes to these predictions, right, and targets, this is all based off of input from the community for sure, but also based off of past results. And as any good analyst will always tell you, past results don't guarantee future results, or just give us a good guidance, a good general tool, give us a sense of what we can expect. So hopefully this will be good input for you as if you're planning to do any grinding for Punisher 29 or Sentry. If you have any questions, or if you have any different thoughts, if you're thinking differently, or again, any questions, just throw them down in the comment section. We can discuss them there. And if you like this video, I really appreciate you hitting that thumbs up button. And if you like this and other videos I have in the channel, we really appreciate a subscribe. Other than that, thanks a lot for stopping by, and have a great day.